Hopefully, I will be ruining the day of the haters, because as much as they threatened to boycott her appearance on MasterChef, it actually broke records. Here's a little bit more if you care to read. I feel like, I don't know, I was just scrolling the Book of Faces, like they're shocked that it did well with the ratings. I'm not shocked. Like, obviously. Literally everything she actually does, if you watch with your own eyes, is a success. So I'm not surprised.
About the fact that Meghan Markle finally, her long-awaited, appearance on MasterChef Australia has now been released.
You know, you're doing something right when people obsessed with tearing you down are Meghan, Kelly, and Dan Wooten. If a racist is calling you the problem and a disgraced predator is leading the outrage parade, you know you're winning in life. Their desperation is getting embarrassing. Meghan, Kelly, and Dan Wooten threw everything they had at Meghan, Duchess of Sussex's appearance on MasterChef Australia. They mocked it, they nitpicked minor details, and called them weird. Their meltdown came after the episode aired and became one of the biggest entertainment stories of the week. It generated global headlines, massive social media engagement, and reminded everyone that when the Duchess shows up, people pay attention. Then they tried the exact same playbook with Love Meghan.
She don't cook.
I'm sorry.
She don't cook!
Dan, sweetheart, she cooked her way into an Emmy nomination. I'll say it again, an Emmy nomination. She ate, bitch. Your biggest accomplishment is being confidently and consistently wrong. And let me remind everyone about Megyn Kelly's moral caliber.
A nationwide uproar is erupting over Megyn Kelly's controversial remarks suggesting that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't really a pet.
He was into the barely legal type. Like, he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into, like, 8-year-olds.
The backlash is fierce. Hashtag I was 15 is now trending on social media, with some posting photos of themselves at that age. 15 isn't barely legal, it's illegal, goes one post.
Absolutely vile and disgusting. Megyn Kelly is a trash bin in heels. So anyway, MasterChef Australia generated enormous attention, with Love Meghan earned an Emmy nomination. Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly and Dan Wooten are still sitting in front of microphones, trying to convince everyone that success is actually failure. At some point, you stop looking like commentators and start looking like the idiots you are.
You don't cook.
I'm sorry.
She don't cook!
It's weird. Even, like, I don't cook, but I've got, like, my 5 go-tos as a mother of 3 children that, you know, I will cook. If you ask me that, my answer would be lasagna. Everybody loves it. I've learned how to cook it. It's a crowd.
I mean, the state of Dan Wooten and Megyn Kelly actually doing a video, an entire video, talking about a reply Meghan Sussex gave when someone asked her, oh, what do you cook for the family? And she's like, you know, I've got different palates to please, and da-da-da-da. And they're sat there saying, well, even I cook, and she didn't have an answer. And Dan Wooten's like, she doesn't cook. She doesn't cook, does she? All she does is crudinettes and a little bit of this. How pathetic are you, Dan Wooten and Megyn Kelly? Like, honestly, are you not embarrassed watching that you've actually spent time making a video, like, watched Meghan Sussex, like with a magnifying glass, and oh my God, she said she can cook and she actually can't cook. It's so pathetic. I actually watched that like this, like, you're grown ass people, like you're in your late 40s, Megyn Kelly's in her 50s, and you're talking about an answer Meghan Sussex gave. How jealous are you of her? You're so jealous.
That's a tough one. It's a tough one because I have a lot of palates to appease. My husband.
That's all she said. Like, yeah, I do that in my house. My husband's got bad taste, my daughter's got bad taste, my son likes this. And they've made an entire, like, this just goes to show what a fake she is. I'm a mother and I can cook this. And Dan Wooten's like, oh, only she can do this. Hey, God, get a life, you embarrassing pair of fools.
All right, Squiddies, can we all admit we've seen this movie about 100 times already? Meghan announces a new project. 3, 2, 1. Out come the usual suspects. It's gonna flop. Nobody's interested. This is the end. You could honestly turn it into a drinking game. Every single project gets the exact same treatment. At this point, they're not even writing new material. They're just photocopying last month's complaints and changing the date. And here's the funny part. Reality keeps showing up like that one friend who always brings receipts. The project launches, people tune in, the numbers come out, and suddenly everybody gets very quiet. Then they hit the reset button and wait for Meghan's next project so they can make the exact same prediction all over again. Seriously, aren't you tired? Because I know the audience is. Let's call this what it looks like. For some people, criticizing Meghan isn't just an opinion anymore. It's a career. It's the product they're selling. Every headline has to sound like the world ending. Every appearance has to become a disaster. Every success has to be explained away before people even get a chance to enjoy it. Why? Because outrage pays the bills. Calm, balanced conversations don't get millions of clicks. Drama does. Anger does. Fake panic does. That's why every time Meghan smiles, somebody somewhere is writing an article titled, "Here's why that's actually terrible." It's almost impressive. Almost. Imagine waking up every morning thinking, how can I make Meghan the villain today? Mate, get a hobby, go fishing, learn the guitar, touch some grass, do something, because this obsession is getting embarrassing. And here's what cracks me up the most. The Craigs keep acting like they're speaking for everyone. Meanwhile, millions of regular people are just sitting on the couch watching the show. Nobody forced them, nobody bribed them, they clicked play because they wanted to. That's how entertainment works. The audience decides, not angry commentators, not professional complainers, not somebody yelling into a microphone hoping today's outrage pays next month's mortgage. Here's something regular people understand. If a restaurant is always full, you don't convince yourself nobody likes the food. If a concert keeps selling out, you don't say the singer has no fans. And if networks keep giving somebody opportunities, renewing shows and backing projects, maybe, just maybe, they're looking at numbers instead of noisy headlines. That's common sense. The truth is, Meghan has become bigger than the outrage. Every project turns into another test, and every time people predict she'll fail, she somehow ends up proving them wrong again. That's gotta be exhausting for the critics. Imagine spending years waiting for someone to disappear, and instead they keep landing new opportunities. At some point, you've got to stop blaming reality and admit your prediction was wrong. Because here's the thing. The internet can be loud, comment sections can be loud, critics can be loud, but none of that changes one simple fact. People keep watching Meghan. People keep talking about Meghan. People keep supporting Meghan. And no matter how many doom and gloom headlines get written, the audience keeps making its own decision. That's why the outrage machine keeps breaking down. It runs on predictions. Meghan keeps answering with results, and results have a funny habit of shutting people up. Now let me tell you something that people in the entertainment business understand better than anybody else. Feelings don't sign contracts, numbers do. Some people online honestly think television bosses wake up every morning, grab a cup of coffee, scroll through angry tweets, watch a couple of rant videos, and then decide what gets renewed. That's not how this works, not even close. These companies are spending millions of dollars. They're not gambling on who has the loudest critics. They're looking at one thing. Did people watch? Simple. If the audience shows up, you've got their attention. If they come back again, you've got something even better. Loyal viewers. That's what every network is chasing. Not internet drama, not hashtag wars, not somebody screaming into a microphone for 20 minutes. Let's look at Meghan. People predicted With Love Meghan would crash and burn before it even got off the ground. It will be cancelled. Nobody's interested. It's over. Well, how do you explain a second season? Shows don't accidentally get renewed. Executives don't throw darts at a board and say, let's waste a few million more. They renew shows because the business case makes sense. Then came something else that made the critics extra uncomfortable, a Daytime Emmy nomination. Now, nobody's saying an Emmy nomination means everybody on Earth has to love the show. That's not the point. The point is this. The same project people were laughing at ended up getting recognized by the industry. That's got to sting a little. Then Meghan popped up on MasterChef Australia, and guess what happened? People watched, again. It's almost like the audience never got the memo that they were supposed to ignore her. Funny how that works. Here's what makes me laugh. Some commentators act like the comment section is the entire planet. It isn't. The internet is loud, the real world is bigger. Most people aren't sitting around arguing online all day. They're coming home from work, taking off their shoes, making dinner, flopping onto the sofa, and watching whatever looks interesting. That's normal life. Nobody's checking with professional Meghan critics before picking up the remote. Regular people make up their own minds. That's why ratings matter. That's why streaming numbers matter. That's why audience retention matters. Because they tell you what people actually did, not what somebody hoped they would do. And here's the reality the critics keep running into. You can complain about Meghan all day long. You can predict disaster every other Tuesday. You can upload another angry video before breakfast. But if viewers keep pressing play, if networks keep investing, if producers keep opening doors, then the noise doesn't change the outcome. The scoreboard has no feelings. It doesn't care who won the argument on social media. It doesn't care who had the funniest insult. It only records results. And lately, the results keep telling a story that some of Meghan's loudest critics simply don't want to hear. That's why they keep moving the goalposts. Because arguing with opinions is easy. Arguing with success, that's a much tougher job.
Now, here's the question nobody ever seems to answer. If Meghan is so irrelevant, why can't these people stop talking about her? Seriously, I'm asking for a friend. Every other week we're told nobody cares about Meghan anymore. Really? Then explain the endless videos, explain the newspaper columns, explain the TV debates, explain the podcasts, explain why some commentators seem to know what Meghan had for breakfast before they know what happened in their own neighborhood. Make it make sense. Because where I come from, if I don't care about somebody, I don't spend my entire day talking about them. It's that simple. I don't wake up thinking, you know what, let me dedicate the next 3 hours of my life to someone who's irrelevant. That's not how normal people behave. That's how obsessed people behave. And that's the contradiction nobody can hide anymore. They keep trying to sell the public this idea that Meghan doesn't matter while making sure she's the headline every single day. You can't do both. It's like opening a pizza shop and spending all your time advertising the restaurant next door. Who are you really helping? Exactly. Half the publicity Meghan gets doesn't even come from her. It comes from the people trying to convince us to ignore her. Talk about doing free marketing. Imagine spending years trying to make someone disappear and accidentally making them trend instead. That's gotta be frustrating. Here's what regular people understand. Attention isn't free. Time isn't free. If you keep giving someone your airtime, your articles, your thumbnails, your television segments, and your energy, you've already admitted they're important. Because here's the truth. Nobody builds an entire career talking about people who don't matter. Nobody. The critics know it. The networks know it. The audience definitely knows it. Meghan gets people talking. That's why every appearance becomes a headline. That's why every interview gets dissected. That's why every project somehow turns into a week-long debate. She grabs attention. And in today's media world, attention is gold. Now don't get me wrong. Not everybody has to be a Meghan fan. That's life. People have different opinions. But pretending she isn't relevant while producing 20 videos about her every month? Come on. That's comedy. At this point, Meghan isn't just living rent-free in some people's heads. She's got the penthouse suite, ocean view, free parking, probably decorating the place too, because they simply cannot let her go. The funniest part? The harder they try to convince everyone that Meghan has faded away, the more they remind the entire world she's still one of the biggest names in the royal conversation. Without even realizing it, they're making her case for her. Every article, every TV panel, every angry rant, every dramatic thumbnail, they're all saying the exact same thing. Everybody look at Meghan. And the audience does. That's why all this talk about irrelevance falls apart the second you look at the evidence. People don't spend this much time chasing someone who doesn't matter. They spend this much time chasing someone they can't ignore. And whether her critics like it or not, Meghan is still impossible to ignore.
Squaddies, and here's the biggest twist in this whole story. The people calling Meghan irrelevant are the ones slowly becoming irrelevant themselves. Think about it. How many years has this been going on? Every month it's the same routine. She's finished, nobody cares, this is her last chance, and then another project, another headline, another audience, another conversation. At some point you've got to ask yourself, who's really winning here? Because if your entire brand depends on one person failing and that person keeps proving you wrong, you've got a serious business problem. Here's what makes me laugh. Some of these commentators spend more time talking about Meghan than her own fans do. Every video, every article, every TV segment, every thumbnail. Meghan, Meghan, Meghan. It's like they're running the world's biggest unofficial Meghan fan club, except nobody told them. And the funniest part, they think they're hurting her. No, they're advertising her for free. Imagine opening a bakery and spending every single day telling customers about the bakery across the street. Who's benefiting from that? Exactly. Meanwhile, regular people are just living their lives. They're not sitting around waiting for permission to like a TV show. They're not checking with professional Meghan critics before deciding what to watch. They see something they enjoy, they press play. That's it. Life isn't as complicated as the internet makes it seem. Here's another thing. Nobody stays relevant by shouting the loudest. You stay relevant because people keep paying attention. Whether it's a new project, a new interview, a new appearance, or a new business venture, Meghan keeps finding herself in the conversation. The critics aren't driving that conversation anymore. They're chasing it. There's a difference. And that's why their attacks don't hit the way they used to. People have heard it all before. The audience already knows the script, the predictions, the outrage, the dramatic headlines. It's starting to feel less like analysis and more like a broken record that keeps skipping to the same line. The truth is, relevance isn't something you claim. It's something the public decides. And every time Meghan launches something new, the public keeps showing up. Meanwhile, the people insisting she's irrelevant are becoming more predictable than the morning weather forecast. That's the irony. The more they try to convince the world Meghan doesn't matter, the more they remind everyone that she still does. At the end of the day, the critics don't decide who's relevant, the audience does. And right now, the audience keeps proving that Meghan is still part of the conversation. The only people struggling to stay relevant are the ones who've built their entire careers hoping she won't. Thank you all for watching, Squaddies. Happy new month. Catch you all in the next video. Goodbye.